Commercial tankers and bulk carriers have largely pulled back from previously busy corridors, with insurers, flag states, and operators rerouting voyages or idling ships as the renewed fighting has made transits through strategic choke points unacceptably risky. A wave of retaliatory strikes and interdictions around the strait forced vessel masters to divert, anchor in safer ports, or delay sailings, creating logjams at terminals and sparking immediate concerns about fuel supply disruption and soaring freight rates. Heated public statements and targeting of Iranian naval infrastructure have compounded operational hazards in the waterway, contributing to a security environment where both commercial actors and naval planners treat the area as an active combat zone for the foreseeable future. Iranian hardline channels reported retaliatory operations allegedly directed at American facilities in the region, a claim that, if corroborated, would signal a dangerous escalation in the campaign of cross-border strikes and proxy engagements. Ship traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has nearly come to a standstill after America-Iran strikes, with commercial operators, insurers and flag states treating the waterway as too hazardous for routine transits until security conditions stabilize. The vessel movements through the key waterway dropped sharply on July 9, according to reports that tracked AIS silence, port diversions and a marked reduction in scheduled tanker passages as shipmasters rerouted or delayed sailings. Ship tracking data showed most observed movements were limited to an Iran-approved route, indicating merchant traffic was clustering along corridors designated by Tehran as relatively safer while avoiding broader navigable areas of the strait. The route was located closer to the northern side of the strait, according to the report, a constriction that increases navigational risk by squeezing larger vessels into narrower channels with fewer options for evasive maneuver. The U.S.-supported Omani corridor reportedly saw little to no ship activity, suggesting that alternate routes promoted by outside partners have not yet been widely adopted by commercial operators wary of insurance, port access and escort limitations. The details of shipping in the Strait of Hormuz were reported by Bloomberg, which compiled AIS records, industry statements and on-the-ground reporting to document the rapid collapse in normal maritime throughput. Remember, shipping unions had designated the Strait of Hormuz as a war zone, a classification that raises insurance premiums, deters crews from accepting voyages and forces additional safety protocols for any vessel operating in the area. The strait's status as a war zone was set to be reassessed weekly until July 9, reflecting the volatile security picture and the industry's need to continuously update risk postures in response to strikes, warnings, and diplomatic shifts. At least 14 seafarers have been killed and some 40 ships attacked since the war began on February 28, a casualty and damage tally that has driven operators to minimize exposure and avoid the region where possible. Iran, under the MOU signed with America, was set to slowly reopen the Strait of Hormuz, an element of the interim deal intended to restore commercial traffic while diplomatic talks advanced toward a more durable settlement. However, on July 8 the U.S. president declared the interim deal over, and fresh Iranian strikes followed, events that abruptly reversed expectations for reopening and pushed maritime actors back into defensive postures and route suspensions.
To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
IRGC units reportedly launched strikes on multiple U.S. bases across the Middle East, with state-aligned channels claiming coordinated attacks aimed at degrading American force posture and signaling Tehran's willingness to target forward facilities in retaliation for recent confrontations. An IRGC-linked channel claimed that Iran launched a large-scale missile attack targeting multiple U.S. military bases across the Middle East. The channel said several American military facilities were struck, though it did not disclose the exact locations of the targets. Kuwait's military confirmed that its air defense systems were actively intercepting hostile missiles and drones over the country. The Kuwaiti army said, and I quote, "The Kuwaiti air defenses are currently confronting hostile missile and drone attacks." The General Staff of the Army notes that if explosion sounds are heard, they are the result of air defense systems intercepting the hostile attacks. Everyone is kindly requested to adhere to the security and safety instructions issued by the competent authorities. Unquote. Kuwait said the explosions heard across the country were caused by its air defense systems intercepting incoming threats. The Kuwaiti army urged residents to strictly follow official safety instructions as the attacks unfolded. Tasneem News reported that the U.S. Fifth Fleet headquarters in Bahrain was targeted once again on July 9. Local sources quoted by Tasneem also reported fresh explosions in Bahrain following Iran's latest attacks. The latest wave of strikes marks a significant escalation in the rapidly worsening military confrontation between the United States and Iran. The Persian Gulf has now emerged as the latest flashpoint in the expanding regional conflict. Iran's retaliation has intensified fears that the conflict could spread further and draw multiple Gulf states into a broader regional war.
We just hit them very hard, and I'd say we hit them 20-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20. And we did it last night. They did a little something today, but it was really retribution for last night. They hit actually 3 boats, not 2. And when they hit, we hit back much harder.
The United States has launched another wave of strikes inside Iran, as powerful explosions were reported across several cities in the country's south. President Donald Trump says he personally ordered fresh retaliation after Iran targeted commercial shipping in the region. Iran has once again come under US attack, as Donald Trump warns that every future Iranian strike will be met with an even harsher response. Explosions have rocked Bushehr and Jask, with reports suggesting fresh US military action deep inside southern Iran. Donald Trump has now vowed a 20-1 retaliation policy, promising overwhelming force for every Iranian attack.
We just hit them very hard, and I'd say we hit them 20-1. Every time they hit us, we're going to hit them 20. And we did it last night. They did a little something today, but it was really retribution for last night. They hit actually 3 boats, not 2. And when they hit, we hit back much harder.
Are we returning to a full-scale military conflict, sir?
I don't know. I don't know. We'd win it very quickly. It's another way of doing it. We have many ways we can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
Fresh reports claim the strategic port of Chabahar has come under attack as Washington expands its military campaign against Iran. Donald Trump says the latest US strikes were significantly stronger than previous operations, describing them as a direct response to Iran's actions. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claims the United States deliberately targeted critical infrastructure around Chabahar port during the latest strikes. Iran is now threatening a large-scale missile and drone response against American military bases across the region. Explosions reported across southern Iran have intensified fears that the conflict could spiral into a much wider regional war. Donald Trump has placed Iran on notice, warning that any future attack on US interests will trigger even deadlier retaliation. The latest US strikes have pushed the Iran conflict into an increasingly dangerous phase, with tensions rising across the Middle East. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says the country's air defense systems actively engaging what it describes as hostile aerial targets. Military tensions across the Persian Gulf continue to surge as the United States expands strikes against Iranian targets. Qatar has reportedly raised its national security threat level and advised residents to remain indoors as tensions across the Gulf continue to escalate. After commercial ships were attacked in the Strait of Hormuz, Donald Trump says Washington responded with another round of powerful strikes. The entire Middle East remains on edge after Donald Trump warned that even stronger strikes could follow if Iran escalates again. Both Washington and Tehran are exchanging fresh threats, raising concerns that the ceasefire has effectively collapsed. Iran's deputy foreign minister says there will be no negotiations with the United States following the Switzerland meeting, while sharply criticizing Donald Trump.
We make no distinction between American officials. They have all pursued hegemonic and arrogant policies. However, the president that America is currently facing does not recognize international structures, nor international responsibility and rights. He constantly uses offensive language against various countries, and this tone, as you have well pointed out, is indeed representative of American society in this regard. It is fitting for all the insults that have been directed at the noble Iranian nation. It has been almost 3 weeks since the Memorandum of Understanding was signed with America. Whether that is considered a long time or not, we have not yet commenced negotiations with the U.S. I am informing you that although technical working groups were formed after the Switzerland meeting, these technical working group meetings have not yet taken place. For example, They were supposed to be held last week, but due to the aggressive action that occurred following certain incidents in the Strait of Hormuz and the actions the U.S. regime took against some of our sites, we canceled that meeting. We informed the American side that Iran would not participate in those talks.